because that Justin, he's gonna fight with me, but Paddy, if Paddy wins, he's gonna try to avoid me and trying not to fight me because he's not man like Justin.
Dana White just detonated the lightweight division. Arman Tsarukyan versus Paddy Pimblett is confirmed after Justin Gaethje's injury, a stress test for the UFC's soul, not just a fight. This isn't matchmaking. It's damage control disguised as brutal opportunity. Careers will flip, legacies are gambled, and someone will be exposed. The immediate green light reveals panic, a frantic need for movement, and a bid to silence questions about Arman's place. This isn't real. Blink, and you'll miss who benefits and who's sacrificed. The UFC bet everything on this chaos.
Listen, I think that there's a difference between having a meritocracy in sports and trying to make justifications for making the fights that are going to be most profitable for the business. Does that make sense? Because, I think, when you have this star and all these people that love tuning in for Paddy Pimblett fights, I'm not trying to necessarily agree with Arman that the UFC wants Paddy to be the champion of the division. I just think they want Paddy to be interesting enough to continue making fights that are going to make them money. And I think there's a slight difference with that. And I think that, I think they took the threat of Gaethje retiring as a serious one if he wasn't going to fight for some kind of a belt in his next one.
When Justin Gaethje went down, the UFC didn't pause. They immediately shoved Arman and Paddy into a room and locked the door. This decision screams desperation, not strategic planning. It wasn't about the best next step for the division. It was about fast-tracking a resolution. Someone panicked, needed movement instantly, and wanted to avoid uncomfortable questions about Arman waiting any longer. The announcement's speed itself tells a chilling story of urgency and hidden motives, a frantic scramble for control in a volatile landscape.
Gaethje's a big star, so is Paddy Pimblett. Are those the two best guys that should get the next shot against Topuria? Probably not. Arman is clearly, I think, the best fighter who isn't the champ in that division. But I think that obviously he has an issue with maybe people not caring as much about his fights as other people. So I think that's the issue. I don't believe it's because of the headbutt. It was like he got injured and didn't fight in the last one. Then the next excuse was the headbutt. I don't buy those as excuses. I think they're trying to make justifications for Paddy Pimblett or Gaethje, because they are bigger names than Arman. They want to give one of those guys the shot. I think that's what that is. And I think Paddy and Gaethje should be competitive. I don't think Arman versus either of those guys would be competitive. I think Arman would walk.
This abrupt pivot isn't merely about giving fans a fight. It's about solving an inconvenient problem. Arman Tsarukyan has become the least convenient elite contender. Too good, too durable, too consistent to ignore, yet not a marketing darling. They've paired him with Paddy Pimblett, the most marketable lightning rod possible. This matchup is a clear strategic move. Either Paddy proves untouchable, or Arman exposes the UFC's perceived protection of him. There's no clean ending here, just a high-stakes gamble with profound implications for both careers and the promotion's integrity.
Bother you too.
To defend his title, so we have an interim title shot. But I think we still got a really, really fun, exciting fight. Justin Gaethje is as exciting of a fighter as you're ever going to find. And Paddy Pimblett is, I don't know that he gets enough credit for his kind of all gas, no brakes style. I think at this point, I think Paddy has done a pretty good job of quieting a lot of the critics, myself included. I think after the Jared Gordon fight, I think people believed maybe we'd seen the ceiling for Paddy, and that's about as good as he was going to be.
Don't miss this part because it's...
Remember Arman's trash talk? He claimed Justin Gaethje would fight him, but Paddy wouldn't dare. That wasn't just a jibe, it was a warning shot aimed at the UFC's favoritism. Now Dana White confirming this fight post-injury feels like the promotion saying, fine, let's find out. But Arman's risk is immense. If he's right, an entire promotional narrative around Paddy collapses. If he's wrong, his leverage and title shot claims evaporate. This clash will define not just their futures, but the UFC's true intentions.
Here.
Really excited about that fight. I know that Paddy Pimblett's going to want to take it to the mat, but Justin Gaethje's a Division I All-American that if he doesn't want to get taken down, it's going to be really, really tough to take Justin down and to hold him there. So I'm really...
Dana White confirming this after.
The whispers of Dana White privilege and the UFC wanting Paddy as champion have lingered, but the truth might be subtler, more cynical. It's not necessarily about making Paddy champion, it's about keeping him interesting enough for lucrative, money-making fights. Justin Gaethje's threat to retire if he didn't secure a belt shot was serious, forcing the UFC's hand. This prioritized spectacle and immediate problem-solving over traditional meritocracy, exposing a willingness to bend the rules for commercial gain, rather than pure athletic progression.
I want Justin to beat Paddy. Yeah. Because that Justin, he's gonna fight with me, but Paddy, if Paddy wins, he's gonna try to avoid me and trying not to fight me because he's not man like Justin.
Paddy Pimblett's fans see opportunity, a rapid ascent, but fighters hear danger. This isn't a gradual climb, it's a straight elevator to judgment. Paddy's confident smile through it all doesn't reassure, it alarms. When a fighter jumps this fast into such a high-stakes bout, the UFC usually knows something we don't, or they're hiding something they don't want exposed yet. That unsettling thought should bother you too, hinting at deeper layers of manipulation and strategic maneuvering behind the sudden announcement.
But as I think he's a good fighter, but he's not unlike me at all. So the fact that I've got Ellis playing Justin Gaethje for me, and then I've got Luke, who's a better, faster, more powerful technical striker than him, I think it all goes into my favour.
You got Luke Riley above Justin. You're rating him above Justin Gaethje in the striking department already in his career, you reckon?
Yeah. Luke Riley's been fighting Thai in Thailand since he was 8 years old, lad. You know what I mean? When Justin Gaethje was wrestling, lad, Luke was fighting Thai and then doing amateur boxing, and Luke's striking is a class above, and people are going to see it over the next couple of years, lad. He's the striking version of me. His striking's phenomenal, lad, and I just can't wait for him to show everyone how good he is, and in a fight or two he'll be fighting ranked opponents, lad, and he'll climb that featherweight rankings faster than I climb the lightweight ones, promise you that.
The excuses for keeping Arman from a title shot, the headbutt incident, or supposed injuries have violently died. Gaethje's injury erased them, and now Arman Tsarukyan is central to the division. Like it or not, this confirms those justifications were temporary. Fragile narratives meant only to buy time. Time, it turns out, just ran out in the most chaotic, undeniable way, forcing a confrontation the promotion seemingly sought to delay. The inconvenient truth has burst into the open, demanding an immediate, inescapable resolution.
Oh, I want to fight him, lad. I want to fight him.
Yeah.
Because it'll be funny once I beat Gaethje, everyone will be like, oh, Gaethje's done, he's past his best, this and that. But then when I beat Ilya, what's the excuse going to be then? It'll be, oh, Ilya was never that good. That's why Paddy beat him.
Yeah, he's short. He's, you know, he got dropped by Jai Herbert.
Yeah, he was never a lightweight, all this and that. That's what it'll be. Watch, you know what I mean? The goalposts get moved.
Dana White's public confirmation of this fight isn't bravery, it's pressure release. Keeping Arman idle longer would make favoritism towards bigger names like Paddy or Gaethje impossible to explain. Injuries don't just open doors, they expose intention. The intention here is clear. Solve the Arman problem now, one way or another, before his leverage and skill start biting the division with inconvenient truths. It's a desperate attempt to regain control of a narrative that was quickly slipping away, choosing proactive chaos over reactive explanation.
Time. Very nice, Justin.
This violent timing ensures chaos. Paddy doesn't get a tune-up, he's thrown into fire. Arman doesn't get patience, he gets his opportunity under intense scrutiny. Fans get pure chaos, not clarity. While profitable, chaos is a dangerous game. If the wrong guy wins the wrong way, everything the UFC planned for 2 years could be ripped up. Someone backstage surely knows this already, understanding the monumental gamble that could reshape the division's future or plunge it into unprecedented disarray and unpredictability.
Everyone's favourite vlogger, King of the Mat. I don't even know what can be asked today. 5 weeks out from fighting Justin. I am very tired. I had a big day's training already. Probably not gonna not do it though, am I? Can't not do it. It's a nice calorie burner. It's a good workout and it's good fun. We have a King of the Mat every year and we have a grading every year.
Consider the weight of experience. Justin Gaethje has battled top 5 opponents for nearly a decade in undisputed title fights against legends like Dustin Poirier. He's been there, done that. Paddy Pimblett, despite his charisma, steps into the biggest fight of his career by a significant margin. This disparity in high-level cage time and proven resilience under the brightest lights introduces a massive, undeniable X-factor. It's a clash of seasoned veteran versus rising star, where experience could be the ultimate decider or a catalyst for a shocking upset.
I do not know if Justin, but it's going to be one of the two, make no mistake. Justin Gaethje is either going to be champion of the world or he's going to be retired. The next time we have this talk, the next time we get together and we're talking about a year in review or a year in preview, the great year to come, Justin Gaethje's either going to be champion of the world or he's going to be retired. And he's going to kick things off with an opportunity to be the champion of the world, which he earned a very hard way. By the way, that division is so difficult. 155 pounds. That is so hard. So now he's gonna go in there with Paddy. They're gonna call that the Interim Championship. I don't get it. I'm gonna call it Interim Championship too, but I don't get it. You got one champion.
Paddy's bold claims about his training partners are raising eyebrows. He suggests his striker, Luke, is superior to Justin Gaethje and another, Tai, better than Arman. While confidence is key, rating unranked partners above elite contenders like Gaethje or Tsarukyan is audacious. It's either genuine belief, psychological warfare, or a dangerous overestimation that could backfire spectacularly. This bravado adds another layer to the narrative, but ultimately, the cage will reveal the truth of his preparation and self-assessment against real-world class talent.
Going to be very telling in this fight.
Yeah, and now let's move to intangibles, because I think, so there's some obvious ones.
Yeah.
Justin Gaethje hasn't been all that active lately. You know, when you look back, one of the things that I like to do personally is watch the last 3 fights of each fighter, you know, because that's going to be the most recent body of work, and then some of their training videos that are current. You know, when I was looking at it, it actually surprised me that Dustin Poirier fight, which would have been the third most recent, was in 2023.
Wow. Yeah,
so, you know, we're now in 2026. So Justin Gaethje has not been all that active. So we have inactivity from Justin Gaethje. We have momentum for Paddy. Paddy's riding high. Paddy doesn't care what the world says about his opponent's record. He doesn't care what the world says about getting Dana White privilege. He doesn't care about any of that.
No.
Paddy's riding high. Paddy feels like he's the best fighter in the world. He's giving respect to Gaethje, but not too much. He's coming in there to knock him out.
The stark collision of merit and excitement is now forefront. While excitement often triumphs in fight promotion, this matchup is radioactive due to inherent uncertainty. If Arman dominates, all previous excuses for his delay disappear, forcing a painful reevaluation. If Paddy survives or pulls off an upset, the goalposts will shift so rapidly, fans will feel whiplash keeping up with the new narrative. It's a battle not just of fighters, but of narratives, where the UFC's carefully constructed stories face their ultimate test of legitimacy.
Win record. So that's another X factor. Now, those are bads on the Justin side. Let's get the bads on the Paddy side. We do look at the last 3 opponents of Paddy the Baddy, and then we look at the body of work of Justin Gaethje. As you said, Justin Gaethje hadn't fought anybody outside of the top 5 in almost a damn decade.
That's
so,
ridiculous.
You know,
in the murderer's row of 155.
And he's fought the best people at 155, period. many of them he's fought multiple times.
Right.
So Paddy the Baddy is going to have a disadvantage. This will be the biggest fight Paddy the Baddy has ever been in. This will not be the biggest fight Justin Gaethje has ever been in.
Correct.
He's been in undisputed title fights with one of the greatest of all time in Khabib. He's been in there with top Dustin Poirier multiple times, Max Holloway, you name it.
Won an interim belt and put it on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This Justin Gaethje has been there, done that, gotten the T-shirt, and it's been a decade since he did.
Both have fights coming up very, very soon. We know Paddy's fighting Justin Gaethje, and if he beats Gaethje, he becomes the interim champion. After that, Dan Hooker's off his radar, right? He will not get to fight Dan Hooker. The only person he's going to fight next is either Ilia Topuria, if Ilia comes back soon, which I hope he does, because he only just became the champion, or it's going to be Arman Tsarukyan, right? Now, Arman Tsarukyan, a lot of people felt that he should have got the title shot. As we know, there was a few circumstances pulling out of the fight. He headbutted Dan Hooker when he beat him recently. And Dana White just kind of like admitted that definitely played a factor into him not getting a title shot.
Paddy's current confidence, his talk of striking prowess, and visions of future belts, all of it is just noise. Confidence alone doesn't stop the ticking clock of a high-pressure fight, and hype doesn't survive elite grappling pressure. If you think the UFC hasn't replayed every scenario, analyzing Arman's ground game versus Paddy's entire skill set, you're lying to yourself. This fight feels dangerous, not exciting. It's designed to answer questions they've dodged for years, making it less a spectacle and more a brutal truth serum for the division.
But anyway, if Paddy beats Justin, none of this matters, because they ain't gonna fight. But if he loses, I think we might see this fight happen pretty quickly, because remember, 1 week after UFC 324, I'll be there. The week after, I'll be there as well in Sydney, Australia. UFC 325 is happening. Dan Hooker's going up against Benoit Saint-Denis. Tough stylistic matchup for both men. Benoit Saint-Denis is going to try and grapple him. He's going to try and take him down, because on the feet, Dan Hooker probably has his way. But Dan Hooker's not an easy man to take down. Remember, the man has a victory over Mateusz Gamrot. And yes, okay, Charles Oliveira just went out there and dominated and finished Gamrot pretty easily, you know, respectfully to Gamrot, right? But that's Charles Oliveira, right? The man with some of the best grappling and the most submissions in the history of the sport.
Here's the uncomfortable truth. If Arman Tsarukyan wins convincingly, it implies someone lied to the fans. Perhaps about merit, readiness, or the blatant protection of stars. Once that lie cracks, every past decision by the promotion, every narrative spun, will be intensely re-examined. This audit doesn't stop at one fight, it spreads. This announcement is a time bomb, ticking under the surface, threatening to unravel years of carefully constructed narratives and expose uncomfortable realities about how the sport is truly run. The interim championship feels less like a legitimate stepping stone and more like a title of compassion. While understanding the need for movement, having two champions challenges the word's meaning. It's an act of grace, a temporary solution, but one raising immediate questions about longevity. Can this facade hold? By this time next year, that interim belt must be undisputed, or the concept loses legitimacy. This interim status highlights the delicate balance between competitive integrity and commercial necessity, an awkward compromise for the division. The intangibles around Justin Gaethje's activity loom large. His last fight was a considerable time ago. He hasn't been as active as expected. This inactivity starkly contrasts Paddy Pimblett's momentum. Paddy is riding high, seemingly impervious to criticism about opponents or Dana White privilege. He genuinely believes he's the best, radiating unshakable confidence that is both his greatest asset and his biggest vulnerability. This clash is a test of sustained elite performance against surging, unproven belief, with past activity a silent, critical factor. This announcement feels heavier than it should, because it's about more than who wins. It's a profound revelation of who the UFC believes in when things spiral out of control. Injuries, in their raw honesty, always lay bare true priorities. The priority here wasn't to await clarity, it was to forcefully demand an immediate answer, even if that answer means someone important gets burned or sacrificed on the way out. It's a ruthless demonstration of strategic calculation, where individual careers become pawns in a larger high-stakes game of corporate control. What comes next is equally fraught. If Paddy beats Gaethje, the landscape shifts. Potential matchups with Dan Hooker disappear. His next opponent will be either Ilia Topuria or Arman Tsarukyan. However, the true chaos unfolds if Paddy loses. Should that happen, all bets are off, and the clash with Arman could be fast-tracked immediately. The outcome of this interim title fight holds the key to the lightweight division's immediate future, creating two vastly different pathways depending on who emerges victorious and who falls. A lingering, unsettling feeling persists. Another reveal, another shift, or a preloaded excuse for a future outcome is yet to come. Volatile situations rarely conclude cleanly. They fracture, leaving questions. The abruptness of this announcement suggests we're only seeing the surface of a deeper strategic play. Someone, somewhere in the shadows, is preparing damage control for an outcome they pretend isn't possible. This fight, while confirmed, is just one chapter in a story with many unseen twists, ensuring continued drama and speculation. The fight has confirmed chaos, yet nothing is truly settled. Until that cage door closes, alliances can shift, narratives can unravel, and even a single injury or one bad round could flip the entire script again. If you believe this current version of the story, the one Dana White just announced, is the final definitive chapter, then you're already behind. This is merely the opening act of an unpredictable drama, where every punch and every decision will reverberate far beyond the confines of a single night. Arman's blunt assessment of Paddy's future intentions speaks volumes. He states that if Paddy wins, he'll try to avoid a fight with Arman, explicitly because he's not man like Justin. This direct challenge questions Paddy's courage and willingness to face the toughest tests, drawing a stark contrast with Gaethje's reputation. It's a psychological jab, suggesting even a Paddy victory might not lead to the logical next step, further fueling protected matchmaking, and sparking debate about true fighter integrity and competitive spirit. This entire scenario starkly reflects the cutthroat business of the UFC, where marketability often trumps pure sporting merit. The calculated risk of pairing Arman, the inconvenient elite, with Paddy, the promotional goldmine, highlights this dynamic perfectly. It's a high-stakes gamble designed to either elevate a superstar or expose a carefully crafted illusion, all while sidestepping difficult questions about fighter progression and fair title contention. The lines between sport and spectacle have never been more blurred, or fraught with fallout for the promotion's future. Ultimately, Justin Gaethje's injury didn't merely slow the division, it accelerated it into a wall of unavoidable decisions. His retirement leverage now hangs like a sword of Damocles, forcing the UFC to prioritize motion over reflection. They chose a fight demanding resolution, a brutal answer to lingering questions, knowing full well that resolution in this unforgiving sport always creates victims. The only question, hanging heavy, is whether that victim is Arman's title hopes or Paddy's invincibility myth. A dramatic climax to an unexpected, tumultuous narrative.